Annette wakes up, actually. Or rather, calms herself long enough for this. You seem to remember a great degree of confusion.
Understandable.
But as she kind of gathers her thoughts, and you see just a rush of kind of motion and clear signs of just like, she's awake, and she is like hasty to move. She has a lot of restless energy.
Don't be too quick to move, Annette. You've been through a lot. Yeah, right until I grab you some water, tea, coffee, gin.
I'll take the gin.
Fair enough. Let me check my bag, actually. I might have some.
As you check
I...
the bag, yeah, I'll say there's maybe quarter bottle left.
Ah, perfect. You'll pull out two glasses. Good, 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 good. There you are. To getting better and not getting mind fucked.
She gives a cheers to that, just kind of the clink and silence. You're seeing a lot of the Kezia vibes in her right now. You're starting to see where Kezia maybe learned from or imprinted on. But she downs the drink in pretty much one.
Oh my. Do you need a refill?
No, I need my wits about me. Is it Byron or is it Ken? I'm sorry, that point confuses me still.
It confuses me as well.
That's
I'll
not a good
respond to either.
answer. I'm going to go with Byron for my sake.
Fair enough.
Byron, you saw me last night, and you are the one who threatened me to get along with Kiki, to be perfectly honest, so I know you have her interests at heart. How... What was with me yesterday? Kezia and I have a very weird relationship, I think you've picked up on, so her seeing me, her saying that I was at that or that she was at that meeting, all of it is strange. All of that is weird. We have too much stuff that complicates everything. But how was I yesterday? Do you remember what I was saying?
I'll be honest, I wasn't there for that. I only caught the tail end as Zeka was dispelling the magic on you.
Did you see anything there? Things are starting to come back together now, but they're still hazy. I remember the meeting that she was describing. The details blur at different points. It's like it's like walking through fog at times. And then when I'm with here last night, again fog. Coming here clear as glass. Talking though, it's like just it's nonsense. It's utter nonsense, and I can't parse it.
Is it almost like falling into a pit within yourself and you're just kind of watching it, kind of from a distance?
Almost, yeah. You know almost what's happening, but you can't quite piece the details out, but you're living it. I
Well,
Ken,
I'm actually
Byron, whichever
really
one.
about that.
How? How? Where do you all know this? I asked it about this the other day, and Argon is finding these weird things. And whatever it is, this is related to that, because nothing like this has happened before. Nothing. Nothing even close. So whatever it is, it's that. But what is it? How do you all know about it? What the fuck are these things? What is it? What is in my head when he did that?
How much information do you want?
What do I need? That is all.
What you
That is all. I don't need it. I don't need the silly metaphors. I don't need the hero's journey. I need to know the facts of how does this fuck with me, and how does this fuck with Kezia, and how can I fuck with him using it. You see, like, cold eyes right now.
Well, there's a lot to it. And there's a lot to it that, even at this point, even though I personally was deeply involved, that none of us really know. The key things is that there are two entities. There's the Dawn Dragon and the Dusk Dragon. The thing that you've been dealing with is the Dawn Dragon. It's all about creating absolute order, removing free will, and controlling people. From what I can tell, it's the Dawn Dragon that, well, the Orchron's kind of getting messed around with. We've encountered beings of some sort that seem to worship it. And they had similar technology to, I think, the things, from what has been explained to me, that the Orchron's after. Now, of course, the part of the story that I know better is the Dusk Dragon. It's the original source of, well, my power. And I'll kind of reach over and I'll grab the curling thing, the Heart of Darkness. I'll just kind of show it to her and just be like, and well, it is the source of my power. It's also what gave Joro his power. It's a being of absolute chaos.
That drunk bastard has that shit? What?
I don't think he fully understands all of it, but there's a lot going on here. If you're wanting to go against the Orchron and the Dawn Dragon, if I'm going to be fully honest, your best course of action, and he'll kind of do like the little pop the curl up into the air, catch it, and be like, well, it would be to side with the Dusk Dragon. But I can tell you from personal experience, you don't want to do that. So what I recommend is that you just make your distance, figure out a plan, and hope that it'll work out. Come together with some people, sort of like us, and we'll, work to find a solution. It's a nice thing about having friends, working in a group. You can always rely on them.
She just kind of looks at you with just like, almost like, not disgust, but like, are you, like this kind of look of like, are you really adding this goddamn lesson?
You're not going to like me saying this, but that look on your face, it reminds me a lot of all the times that we talk about being a party with Kezia.
Oh my fucking god, you really are continuing this.
I know, you guys have history, and I'm not here to try to solve it. I've done enough with that.
Listen. There is some weird shit with me and Kezia, okay?
Understood.
I will back her. I will. In a pinch. I've done it before, and while she really grinds my gears and she has fucked things up for us, the us of that part just did something with my mind. So you know what? Maybe that's for the best that she fucked that up. Maybe the new us is going to be a lot of me fucking him over. Maybe you guys, catch wind of it, hear things. I am not good at speaking. I'm gonna be honest.
It's all right.
Listen. You helped break the ice with me and Kezia, even though that was pretty fucked up way of doing it, with the whole threatening me. I really... But you know what? We're gonna move past that part, because it at least got us talking again. Got us to listen to each other. So I'm not going to thank you for it, because again, you tried to threaten my life and my health with it. But I do want you to understand, I appreciate the end result.
I understand. The ends don't always justify the means. Although if it makes you feel any better, I can't do those means anymore.
You could, but never mind. Anyway, so here's what I'm currently at. Dawn Dragon, Dust Dragon, that stuff is all very high concept. What I understand is the Archeron is here and has some weird magic thing that he is using that he used to fuck with my head, and now I can see he was trying to fuck with Kezia's. And if I'm being honest, probably is gonna try to fuck with all of yours. what I can do is fuck with people who just tried to pull some stuff on me. And she points just at her head. I can provide my own special brand of fuckery. I know where he keeps his special toys. Maybe I can grab a handful. Maybe I can just point people in the direction of where they are. I haven't fully decided yet. But what I do know is this. I'm getting the hell out of town in the next few days until I at least figure out a plan that involves him not getting into my head. But I do owe you all a small favor for breaking me free of that sort of thing. So, how do you think I can help you a little bit before I go?
How can you help?
I'm not going to fuck with him directly because I still need a plan for that. But I can do little things here and there, potentially, if they don't expose me too much.
I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but I think before you really try to fuck with them, you should group up with some people. You don't want to take on things like, you know, what he's able to do to you by yourself. You want people that are able to, you know, break you free. But
I'm really not a people person.
Neither is Kezia. And she had someone that isn't even able to summon black holes anymore, you know, threaten her sister's life to reforge their bond.
Do you consider that a good thing? Is that a mark of a functional relationship?
It's a mark of a caring relationship.
I don't know if it is.
I'll put it to you this way. My original plan was to, you know, maybe try to flirt with you, be kind, be, you know, seductive. But Kezia said no. I went, all right, backing off. What I'm going to do instead, because very clearly your guys' relationship is unhealthy, but she doesn't want it to be that way. I'll do my best to make sure that you two actually do, you know, reform a bond. Because that's important. And I want Kezia to be able to experience having a family. And you're the closest thing she's got. So I made sure, in a, I'll happily admit, shitty way, ensure that the first step towards that family was made. And can you really blame me for that?
No, I guess I can't. But I really do have to critique your method.
Oh, no, I've gotten so used to using the threatening method just from, you know, my past work.
Like Ken, Byron, whichever one it is. Like, if you need to do, like, a Ken is the nice one, Byron is the tough one, that's a fine way to approach it. But, like, if you're trying to build a relationship, I'll admit, I'm no expert on it. But if you open with threats, it's not going to set that off on a very good tangent. For instance, I actually was maybe interested in you, and then you threatened me.
Fuck! Alright, agreed. I'm going to try to stop being threatening. I'm new to this barb thing, and I'm much better at talking now than I used to be. And I need you to remember that threats aren't the only way. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's a lot of promises on your part. I can absolutely agree to that.
And you know what? How's this? I'll stop making threats like this if you promise to at least attempt to make friends. I say that's a pretty good deal.
Make a persuasion check.
Well, that's a minimum of 20.
Alright, and we're going to roll... She's going to roll to resist her urge to make friends. Or to roll... I guess it would be to roll to maintain her lone wolf status.
Come on. What?
Alright. But one additional thing on top of this. If Kezia actually manages to make a friend, an honest-to-God friend, and it isn't this kind of kind of tense, the lingo between the two of you that kind of seems perpetual, you have got to let me know. Because I truly would be blown away if that happened.
Byron just kind of look up, think of the mark on Kezia's hand. Be like, wonder if that has anything to do with it. I should check in with her about that. Well, I can assure you, she will make a friend, at least by the end of this. And it won't even be me. Actually, I'm pretty sure flatly, she's already friends with us. What am I saying? You've seen Kezia have friends.
I honestly, with her, it's very difficult. She may be seeing you all as like teammates and like close acquaintances, but it might still be a work thing. I know she likes the kid with the goat legs, but that's kind of a weird dynamic to say that my only friend is someone like 10 years younger than me who's still going through puberty. Like, you see where I'm coming from with this? It's like, you can be on good terms with people, but they may not necessarily be your friends, right?
Well, I mean, she's been willing to put her life on the line for all of us. Would you do that for just a teammate?
Yes.
Man, you guys have really intense teams.
I mean, it's a team. Generally, if it's to a point to you said earlier, if I'm in this and I don't have someone to back me up, then I die. It is as much about getting myself out alive as it is getting them out.
I suppose.
Like, if your question was, am I willing to die for them? No. But am I willing to put my life on the line for them? Yes.
Oh no, Kezia, I think, is more than willing to die for any of us. At least I'd like to think so.
Well, I guess we'll see. Star wipe. Annette goes about and does her things.
Before she goes, Byron's going to prestidigitate a little part of hair on the back of her head just to see what the fuck her actual natural hair color is.
Oh, it's like just a dark brown.
Before you go and ask, I just wanted to say,
yeah.
No, it's not about making friends. Just wanted to say, I think your natural hair color is beautiful, and I think you should leave it that way. But obviously, that's up to you.
Her eyes bulge as you walk away. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, and if you ever need someone to talk to, I'm always here. Well, not always here. You understand. Have a good one.
So long, Ken. We'll see if we meet up again.
Oh, wait, one more thing. Violence or violence?
Alright, we pick up later that day, Byron having been freshly beaten by Ode and stabbed by Kezia. Really, really hammering down the fact that you guys are all friends.
Anna, let's be real. Annette stabs Byron. She doesn't want to answer the question, so instead she stabs him in the arm and runs away.
You notice that second dagger, it's just so cold. It's just so cold. Like, you're honestly a little worried about being frostbit in the immediate area surrounding where you were stabbed.
Fuck, it's like an ice cube blow drop. Don't ask.
This is why I stabbed you. Anyway, as Byron moves further in, you look sufficiently beat to shit. The stab wound into your arm, just various bruising and very fresh with it. How do you move towards the reclaimed bastion?
Kind of gamble over there, clutching the fresher wound that's, seeping blood. And whenever he gets there, just kind of to the closest guard to the bastion, just help me, please.
Do you find a Weaves guard or a regular guard?
Weaves guard.
Okay. Make an investigation check real quick just for that.
Investigation. 19.
Easily done. They're basically from where you guys are at the Steins Gate, and particularly after you kind of pissed off Annette that she gave you a slight stabbing, you move through towards the Market District, where you see like festival preparation is still underway, and it's significantly enhanced since then. You see, like, certain market stands are actually being, like, repurposed into, like, what's clearly going to be, like, carnival and fair games. You see, like, the stage is nearly built, and it is, like, quite large. It could easily house, like, a somewhat large band, maybe not quite like an orchestra, but, like, you could probably do, like, a Battle of the Bands up there with very little issue. And it has, like, ample space for, like, public speakers as well. And just general, like, fairgrounds you see are kind of beginning to form, if not quite finished being built yet. It looks like they'll be done by end of the day tomorrow at the latest. Probably in the morning, honestly. But with that comes an increased amount of Weaves Guard security, as well as regular guards, but in this area you notice a little bit more in the way of Weaves Guard. You manage to just stumble your way towards one, and you just make a performance check for just how damaged you look.
Come on.
Tell me how it goes.
He'll kind of clutch the wound. He'll kind of squeeze it to make it bleed a little bit more. So it's kind of seeping between his fingers. I'm going to scramble up and just take out the Weaves Guard trinket and just say, please, I need to get to the infirmary, and I'm afraid that they'll come back.
Shit. Boys, we got a wounded man here. Let's go. And you see, like, two other Weaves Guard, like, pretty grunt-looking dudes just, like, kind of swarm you. And you are immediately being, like, just led through. They don't throw you on a cart just because there isn't, like, an ample one nearby, or that it would be, like, convenient, but they're, like, moving you through the city, like, basically three-man battering ram through any crowds that try to form.
Yeah, he'll just kind of lean into one and say, thank you, I really appreciate it.
It's no problem. What happened, man?
I got really excited about being accepted with you guys, and these men, they attacked me.
Wait, are you that new recruit who got thrown into the wall yesterday?
Yes, it's been a rough few days.
You are really just a magnet for trouble. Okay.
Yeah, I think they said they were part of the Skinwalkers?
Few minutes you are brought into the aid camp where you see you're not being immediately tended to. It looks like any of the what we would call acting nurses and acting like surgeons or anything are still mending to the kind of the influx of just magically addled people. But you do have a Weaves Guard little entourage outside your tent, and eventually you see what you would recognize as an Inquisitor actually report up here before you enter the tent, clearly of that same marking as Inquisitor Ramos back on Feldarin.
And just immediately kind of like kind of staggeringly bows. Just, hello, sir. Thank you for coming to see me.
What happened here?
I was talking about how lucky I was to be able to join the Weaves Guard, and these ruffians, they attacked me. They said that they were sick of the Weaves Guard or something. I kind of stopped listening.
Speak clearly. You see he like takes a very firm tone, kind of like drill instructor-esque.
Just kind of sits back. Just, yes, sir. Two ruffians attacked me whenever I was talking about how I was happy to be a part of the Weaves Guard. And I believe they said that they were a part of a gang. Something about skin and travel. Skinwalkers, I think?
How bad are your wounds? Do you feel that you can walk?
I should be able to walk.
Alright. Then come with me. Don't worry, we'll see to it that you are kept under guard. Skinwalker. Where was it you were attacked? He says this as he is kind of walking. You're walking, talking towards the Bastion grounds.
I was west of the market, and I was just talking to some friends I made here, and I guess they overheard me.
I see. Well...
There was this new guy. He had knuckles. They looked like they were metal. And he just... I'll kind of point to a bruise I'm going to assume somewhere visible and say, he just decked me. And he was like... I can't exactly remember what was said because he punched me in the head soon thereafter. But something about Johnny Brass Knuckles and hating the Weave Scar. That the skinny walkers will take over the city.
Kay, correct? That's your name?
Kay? Yes, that's me.
Okay. I need you to be very clear that you don't mention this to anyone other than myself or a few others that we're about to meet. Are we clear? We cannot afford for idle rumors and just so random fuckers trying to drive a wedge between us to successfully drive a wedge between us. Whether it is that these were skinny walkers as you say, or whether they were people posing as it, we will get to the bottom of given time. But for the moment, I'd like you to see our physician. We've been dealing with a few strange things lately, and I would like it if you were to speak with her and confirm your wounds.
Of course. Should we at least warn other members of the Weave Squad not to head in that area, just in case?
I am very certain that any of our members will be able to handle it. As you said, you are a new recruit. And beyond that, you are a speaker recruit. I don't mean to dismiss your fighting abilities, but I can't help but feel that you were an easy target for this. I would not be worried about more of our more senior members being assaulted. Are we clear? Not to report this to anyone.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Very well. You see the doors open. Fitzschulze, he just kind of gestures to that. Bring him to her. Confirm his wounds, specifically the head wounds around the cheek and the eyes. I want to know whether this Johnny Brass Knuckles is living up to his name.
Thank you, sir. And you are Inquisitor
Justine.
Thank you, Inquisitor Justine.
Carry on with your day. I have to carry this news. Not a word. Not a word.
Yes, madam. I feel very bad that I kept calling you sir earlier.
No, Justine, as in Justin.
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, okay. Justine, yes.
This is a fantasy world. We use strange pronunciations. Anyway.
Justine Team Bear Lake.
Shut up. Anyway. You actually are brought inside once again, and about halfway into... At this moment, you immediately see, as you are brought down, you are actually flanked by several Weave-Scarred guards. Probably, again, based on what you saw in Feldarin, more in the grunt venue, but, 2 or 3 of them are kind of at your side. Whether it's to watch you or to protect you is kind of hard to say, honestly. But they're very much with you as they kind of guide you downstairs. And they take you down the first flight of stairs, which, as you can at this point confirm with what Artuk said, it is basically just a supply room. It looks like this was actually a part of the, when this was a Cerulean Eye monastery, and it was just expanded afterwards, but this was clearly just the supply room for that building, and its role just never changed. But
All right.
as you go down the stairs, it just leads through. There's nothing of particular note on that floor. Again, just leads to down two different hallways, and then they just continue down one flight of stairs. Do you try to deviate at all from their guidance?
No, probably just try to make stupid small talk with them.
So, how was it getting thrown into that wall the other day? But you were brought into the infirmary with your kind of cohort of grunts, and inside, for just a moment, you kind of have a flashback to Carnish all those months ago. Of you kind of just see it almost looks like a doctor's office, like Psycher's was in the village. You see what can loosely be considered like infirmary beds. It's but like it's more stone slabs. It kind of seems like a mix between a morgue and an infirmary. But you see this humanoid kind of looking corpse on one of them, on one of the slabs, and beside it you see this taller, beautiful looking Yuan-Ti woman, wearing wearing like these very clean white, oh, not quite scrubs, but kind of like scrubs, but almost as if they were made out of like cloth instead, or like just a different material, and just holding in one hand just a scalpel that is clearly covered in like this kind of purplish blood.
And is she like Yuan-Ti pure blood, where it's like mostly looks human, but there's some like scales and other areas and like snake eyes, or like this is a snake person?
She is a Yuan-Ti pureblood for sure, but there are certain features that are very obvious. The eyes immediately give you a reminiscence of like a viper, and you see like scaling around the eyes, like it from the bits of of her that aren't covered by her clothing. You see like hints of scaling, and just like it's almost like her appearance, like her hair, it almost, and just like the way she carries herself kind of has a reminiscence to the pattern of of a viper. It gives you just that impression, whether it's natural or somewhat cultivated to be intimidating. It's hard to tell.
Looks like she can strike at any moment.
That's a good way to put it, particularly with the scalpel in hand.
Okay.
But yeah, you see her, and she turns around, pulls down her face mask. Yes. Who is this?
I'll step forward. My name is Kay. I'm a new recruit. I'll offer her my hand to shake.
Why are you interrupting my work? There is significant research that needs researching, and I am, well, delighted to meet another follower of our creed. Quite busy and not inclined towards personal calls.
I understand. Justine sent me because I was attacked by supposed members of a gang. One such named Johnny Brassknuckles, and he wanted you to tell if they live up to their name. And as you might be able to tell, kind of lift the hand away from the wound to show the bloody hand and the seeping blood coming out of the stab wound. And also in somewhat rough shape.
Very well. Step to the side. The rest of you, leave now. I can't have my workspace contaminated any further. As you walk in, it's strange almost seeing as sterile an environment as this. And she looks like she immediately returns to whatever she was working on for just a moment. But as you look around, you just see these different slabs and these kind of bodies across the way. And similar to how Artuk said, it's like a body of a mostly humanoid figure, four-fingered rather than six-handed, and like webbed feet, but the head of an anglerfish almost. It's off-putting enough for you to take note of it, and you see her just kind of clearly performing an autopsy on it. Very well. You have... And she walks over to you. Removes her gloves and washes her hands. Very well.
If you don't mind me asking, was that poor person affected by a wizard of some sort? Was this a curse?
Perhaps, but not one that we fully understand yet. Tilt your head up to the right and tell me about when you've struck. Any additional details you can provide on the weapons. Clear signs of blunt force trauma.
The man had knuckles, from what I could tell, quite literally made of brass. And after they punched me, their friend took out a dagger, and it almost seemed to steam, as if it was either so hot or so cold. And they, stabbed me here. And I've never been stabbed before, so I'm not sure if, it's supposed to feel cold, but it sent a chill just deep into my bones.
As she moves over to your arm, clear signs of magical weaponry. Cool.
As soon as
frost damage, in addition to severed. She just starts going through medical lingo, but just clearly referencing this is how the wound was approached, and just things of that nature. It's almost like she's performing an autopsy on you. It's a little unnerving.
As soon as she mentions magic, you'll kind of tense up and almost snarl for a second. What the fuckers are using magic?
It would seem so. You see her immediately walk over to a cabinet and reach into and pull out a syringe, basically, and walks over to you. This will sting. And she immediately puts it into your arm. Does not give you any time to prepare.
What? Ow!
Make a con save for me.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. That's a natural 1.
Immediately, what the fuck? Sorry, if we consider what Annette said of there's Ken and then there's Byron. Byron jumps up for a second, what the fuck? And immediately you feel your arm just kind of begin to numb. Sit back, otherwise you will fall and injure yourself further. And she kind of just gently pushes you back onto the slab. I've given you a paralytic. It will ease your body, and it will induce you into a state that I may work and understand your wounds better. It may be painful, and I will be applying a tranquilizer to you in just a moment. But you immediately just feel another needle get poked into you. Make another con save.
21.
With a 21, you're lulled into a kind of sleep state. The pain from the initial needle and several of the wounds goes away, and you just kind of drift into a dreamless sleep. Dreamless at first. Visions of just you in just an array of stars. And for just a moment, you feel just very present, and just as if you're being watched. It fades back into nothingness. With a 21, I'll say that you awaken. You notice that, and you're still slurred and nearly asleep, but you hear conversation beside you. Yes, it would seem that the wounds were magical. Accordingly, the bruises do match that of a blunt weapon. Brass is difficult to say, though I did see small chunks of small flecks of it on the surface of the skin. It's still difficult to say. It's unfortunate, but what I can't understand is why. I have heard of a new man by the name of Johnny Brass Knuckles, but as far as I'm aware, he was disrupting them. It seems odd. What do you propose? As it pertains to our work, the wounds match, but it's hardly conclusive. Blunt force weapon in a fight, easily done. The words of a scared boy in the midst of a bar fight, hearing the words skinny walkers. In their territory, perhaps they were talking about it ambiently. Perhaps they arranged this and are going against us, but why target just him? Why suddenly? It doesn't make sense. You're starting to rouse awake a little more at this point, Byron.
I'll just kind of stir, kind of grunt, but make it sound like he's less awake than he is, and that he's just slowly coming to.
Roll performance, roll performance for this. Amir will want to hear of this. He's been particularly on edge since losing whatever that cube was. Had you any work unraveling it? Well, not particularly much. According to the runes alongside it, it seemed to suggest some kind of that strange magic that he seems obsessed with. And yes, elements of magic that seem to influence the mind, but beyond that, it's quite difficult to unravel it if you'll not allow me to use all my resources. Amir is very clear. We cannot allow those mages to handle it. They could turn it against our men, and they could do irreparable damage. Or beyond that, they can get away with it, and now we have to spend time hunting it down. Well, it would seem that we are already at that point now, seeing as he allowed it to be taken. But we can debate his security later. I do not like this. I do not like how suddenly strange things are happening. And I do not like especially hearing of what happened in Faldarin. Something seems to be stirring towards us very quickly, and that seems very, very bad for me in particular. You have your men to hide behind. Amir can't do. No one can fucking touch Amir. No one's gonna be able to do anything to him. He'll be fine. I can research. I can tend to these strange monstrosities we recovered from whatever that site was. I'm no fighter. What would you have us do? I believe what I've been working on as a pacification is quite effective. I believe... Let me test it. Let me test it today. Now. Let me prove that mages have no further power over us than we allow them to. Let them all feel powerless. And let us show that. Out of the question. Your experimentation, it has produced great results. Amir in particular is impressed with how he may utilize them. And perhaps even against the mages, they are effective. But we cannot show our hand so easily. Is he stirring? He looks over to you. Byron, make another performance check.
21.
We're going to have them roll. They're going to have them both roll perception.
Whoo! Hell yeah.
It would seem that the sedative is still affecting him. Though, I believe we should cut our conversation short. Callan, I respect you and your work here, and I'm ready to aid it in any way that I can. But I need to be gone. And but before I do that, I need to ensure that this works, so that my research, if something is coming, if something is stirring against us, isn't lost forever. I need to pass this along. Are we clear? Who would you have it? Who would you test it on? The one that Amir is obsessed with, Ernest. He's clearly important, and this will not harm him directly. How certain are you of what it can do? And how certain are you that it will even last? Once it's in his system, nothing is getting it out. Do it. And with that, the conversation ends. For a moment, you see the high speaker walk, kind of walk around. This thing gives me the fucking creeps. And he smacks the weird the weird fish head monster. What?
Okay.
How much? You have terrible luck, Kay. Thank goodness you found us. I don't know how you would survive otherwise. Byron, what do you do?
He'll kind of groan. But just kind of stir a little bit, lay somewhat still, wait for a second, and then kind of slowly tilt his head up to essentially look at Callan.
Ah, good. You're awake once again. I was beginning to fear that we had perhaps left too high of a dosage. Perhaps you would be out for the next few days. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling better, I think.
Yes. It would... You actually notice that Shulsa, on being given the go-ahead, has left the room.
Where Jules go?
Yes. Well, she is tending to a personal project of hers at the moment. For now, get some rest. Are you able to move as of yet? I understand that and you look over while you were unconscious. There was small ointments applied to the bruises and some actually very impressive stitching work that was done to your arm.
He'll start by trying to wriggle his phalanges and just try to slowly move, not just immediately sit up, but just kind of work his way towards it.
It's okay. Would you be so kind as to... I understand from Justine, he informed me thusly, and from Schultz's confirmation, you were attacked, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you say it was by an individual known as Johnny Brass Knuckles?
I believe so. At the very least, he said his name was Johnny, and he has knuckles made of brass.
Interesting.
Would it be possible for me to stay in the barracks here?
I'm afraid not. With the festival and things moving as they are, there's an elevated sense of security that we simply cannot allow.
I suppose I understand. I'm just worried that if I get targeted again, they'll come for my brother.
Roll persuasion, but you have disadvantage. No, it's just going to be a high DC. It's going to be a very high DC.
I'm a high roller. So 20.
I'm going to base it off of how well he rolls. Yeah. I apologize, but with the festival coming up and with your attack only enhancing our worries, this will, of course, we must take security very seriously. And while I have taken a shining to you, I cannot compromise the rest of our organization simply for one recruit. He has not Not like hard eyes, but like he seems very firm in that decision.
I understand. I appreciate that you're willing to put forward this much of the already thin security to protect me this much.
Indeed. I will... The day of the festival, I will see if I can't dispatch a handful of men to watch you and your brother.
I appreciate that. Will I be able to come here during the day? I'd be happy to help out with the preparing for the festival. I could start my training. I'd be happy to start the combat training. Heck, if I need to, I'll start it now.
Okay. Your training will begin after the festival. While I do appreciate this, there are significant measures that need to be done, and this information only highlights another potential threat that we must see to.
All right. If there's any way that I can help, any information that I can offer or try to get for you, just please let me know. I still can't believe that those fuckers are using a magic weapon.
Yes. Neither can I. I'll have one of my men see you out.
Thank you again, sir. I appreciate it.
And he kind of walks towards the door, and you see like you notice these two guys, they look significantly more experienced than the grunts you've been dealing with. But yeah, as the High Speaker and his entourage of guards leads you upstairs, out from the infirmary and back through the supply levels, you re-emerge onto the Reclaimed Bastion's central hallway. You're led to the large oak doors that mark the exit to the building, and as they're opened for you and you're led outside alongside the High Speaker and his entourage, you see that it's much later in the day, probably 5 or 6 o'clock. You guess that your time with Shulsa, while you were sedated, you were under a bit longer than you expected. Actually, as you walk outside, you hear a lot of alarms actually going on, like, basically, like, war horns getting blown through the town. You get the sense something is happening that is causing a very large guard presence, and seems to be in the wider market district.
What in the world is... You'll just kind of look at the two guards with them and go, I think we should go take a look at that. Do you think it could be another mage attack?
Go home, Kay. You too. Fetch Justine.
But, like, you'll kind of look... And then he'll look towards the market, kind of get a slightly aggressive stance. Then look at his wounds.
And if you like turn for a second, you see Callan and make a wisdom save.
Oh shit!
I want to be clear. You don't feel magically inclined by this. This is not magical. This is just kind of force of personality. Okay. That's a failure. Go home.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I need to break myself of that as soon as I can. I'm so sorry, sir. And he'll just kind of put his head down and quickly start walking.
Alrighty. I think with that, Byron heads back and will I will say that you get back around the time, a little bit before Sonny's manages to completely break the mold.
Okay. Yeah. He'll thank the guards and be like, I appreciate walking me here. If I had money, I'd pay you? I don't know. I haven't really dealt with personal cards before, but I'm so thankful.
Yeah, they basically bring you in towards the wider area of the market, but at that point you see, like... At this point, what you, the player, understand is Sonny has kicked everything off. is going on, and they're like, okay, no, we have to get involved, and they're just like, find your way back on your own. Like, they've clearly, like, while they've been told to guard you, this is superseded in their mind. Like, what the fuck is happening?
Yes, absolutely. I'll make sure to stay home and keep my head down. If you see Johnny Brass-Knuckles or whatever fucker has that knife, hurt them a little extra for me.